My first Tony Hawk game was Pro Skater 4 back on the PS2, and that nostalgia, along with the difficulty rating for the Platinum, is what made me go Platinum Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake. And I thought then that was all we were going to get. But they randomly announced the game being released, and I knew straight away I was getting it and going for the Platinum straight from release. The game starts with a tutorial, which I did to refresh my memory of the controls, and this is where I earned my first trophy for performing a combo worth 7,500 points or more using only flip tricks. And then not long after, I finished the rest of the tutorial and earned another trophy for doing so. With the tutorial out of the way, I went straight into the career, and if I'm playing a Tony Hawk game, I'm going to play as Tony Hawk himself. The career is really basic. There are 10 goals per level that I need to beat, and I will be making sure to do all of them before I move on to the next one, while also making sure to collect all the stat points that are around the maps to help upgrade the skaters and make things a little bit easier for myself. I start with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 first and gradually make my way through the levels, getting all the goals complete for each one, and my only issue with some of the goals was where they were a little bit too vague for me, or I just couldn't work out what I needed to do. The best example I have for this is in Los Angeles. There's a goal to start an earthquake, and the goal flyover at the start shows a rail to grind at the beginning, and based on the gap from the grind I could work out I needed 3 more, but for whatever reason I just couldn't work out what else I needed to do. So I looked it up and found the rails that I needed to grind, and could see that the indication for which ones I needed to use were the fact that they were all red, which I do feel as though I should have actually worked that out myself, but it wasn't all bad, as this is where I earned my 3rd trophy in the game for successfully landing 500 grinds. I continue with the career and earn another trophy in the next level, Tokyo, and this is for scaring 120 clusters of birds in the game, which is something you really don't have to even think about to get done. And I also earn another trophy in Tokyo for performing 100 combos that have either a wall ride or a wall plant in them. Finally, after earning the gold medal in Tokyo, as well as the other 2 previous competition levels, I unlocked the secret level cruise ship. And once all the goals were completed there, I moved on to Pro Skater 4. Now, this is where the memories of playing this when I was younger came flooding back, as I remember some of the bits from each of the levels. Bits like sketching the professor's car in the college, manual across the walkway, and helping them paint a Neil in San Francisco, and many others. My main issue though for this remake is with these levels, and that is the fact that they added it and made it a 2-minute timer. I did prefer the original setup, but I'll take what I can get at this point. The main objective here for me was the same as in Pro Skater 3's levels, and this was to complete all goals and collect all the stat points in every single one I was in. And when I finally reached the zoo, I grabbed the last stat point in the game to max out the skater's stats and earn another trophy. And when I get the gold medal in zoo, I earn another trophy for unlocking the secret level, Pinball. Pinball is the last level of the career, and there were 2 goals that initially had me a little bit confused. The first was to sack tap through the slime, and I originally went through the top, which I thought would work, but eventually found that I needed to jump up from the ramp below to do it. And then the second was to wall plant the multi-ball target. This one had its own trophy for completing it as well, and for this I need to go into the mouth of the bird skull, which then activates the 2 sets of targets that needed to be wall planted, and once both were done, I earned a trophy for doing so. And then once the rest of the goals were finished in the level, I thought I had beaten the career, but instead I unlocked something extra, which is the pro goals for each level. The pro goals add 5 extra goals for each level, 1 new score goal, a goal to collect letters to make the word combo, but unlike skate, these need to be collected in an actual combo, and there is a trophy for this to be done in reverse, and the other 3 are unique to the level they are in. The competition levels also have a new goal in. This has to be completed along with earning the gold medal in the event for it to register as being completed. While going for the pro goals, I decided to try and earn a couple of the miscellaneous trophies along the way, and I somehow earned the versatile trophy randomly when skating in Rio, and after seeing it needed to have a flip, a grab, a manual, wall, a grind, and a special trick included, and also be 150,000 in a score, I would have thought I'd need to have purposely tried to earn it, and just glad I got it in natural play. The next trophy I earned is in airport, and this was for collecting the combo letters in reverse. I was keeping this trophy in mind as I went through all the levels in the game to see if it was possible to attempt it when I found them, as I wanted to try and work it out myself. And when I saw how they were lined up, it just seemed like a good one to try and earn it in. And after a good while and a bit of frustration, I do manage to get the letters in reverse and earn the trophy in doing so. After that, I continued on beating the Pro Goals in Airport and the Platinum Goal in Skate Island and moved on to Los Angeles, which has the one combo goal I really dislike. And I can never reach the jump to the M consistently, so eventually I found a better way for myself. So I grabbed the letters C and O, then jumped down, manual across the road, to then wall ride and grind a wire to get the second O, and then grind the wire up to the letter B, and then finally M. It's a bit all over the place, but it's a method I found that worked for myself, and I got really comfortable in doing so. In Los Angeles though is where I earned the next trophy, and this is because I'd seen there was a challenge for this, and it was just glitched twice in a single combo. But the challenge I was actually attempting also needed a 2 million score, and while going for that one, I also earned a trophy for sketching any vehicle for 15 seconds. But I did fail a good few attempts at the score challenge and decided to move on and leave that one for another time. Did also see when looking at the trophies that there was one for getting a 75 combo, so decided to go back to Foundry and work on that one. And the way I found easiest was to build up a decent combo and score doing grinds and normal tricks as I would usually. Then when I entered a manual to go into a handstand trick and then just keep tapping square to flip it as quick as possible and build that multiplier up quickly. And as soon as I hit 75, I jump and land the combo and earn the trophy. It was then straight back to the Pro Goals, and it wasn't long, and I got the last of the Pro Goals completed on cruise ship, which did need quite a high score of 900,000 within the 2-minute timer. But when the last goal was done, I earned the trophy for completing every goal in Pro Skater 3, and it was straight onto 4 to take on the Pro Goals there. While working through these goals in 4, I decided to get 2 more Miscellaneous trophies. The first was for editing photo mode while playing as Tony Hawk, and then the second was for trying out all the filters in photo mode as well. I then slowly made my way through the Pro Goals for each of the levels, improving on my combos. This was to help make sure I get more practice ready for the challenges to come later. But eventually I get the last level Pinball, and I earned 3 trophies just from this one level. The first was for getting a score over 1 million in a level without any assists on, and as long as you play the game without them, you will learn this, as one of the Pro Goals is to actually score 1 million within the 2-minute timer. Second trophy then was for completing all of the goals in all the levels in Pro Skater 4, and because I had done this for both Pro Skater 3 and 4, I unlocked the solo tour, earning a trophy for doing so as well. But before I jump into the grind that is solo tour, why didn't you help me out with the grind to grow the channel by hitting that subscribe button, and I'll grab a few more trophies while you do. I was close to completing the trick challenges, so I thought I would finish them off and earn the trophy for completing them. And I also went for the trophy for landing a kickflip in the abyss, and then also earning a score of 10 million in a single session. I did use the game mod for 60-minute timer for this, and that's because I never thought I would get a 10 million score in 2 minutes or a single combo, no matter how much practice I put in. It was then the trophy for 5 minutes in free skate I earned next, and lastly 900 and 900. And for this I used someone's custom map. This is because it launches the skater straight into the air, giving ample time to perform the 900 special trick and then spin to get that 900-degree turn to earn the trophy. With a few extra Miscellaneous trophies done, I was now ready to take on the solo tour grind. Or at least I thought I was when I went into it. I went in and only activated the mod for a timer for the 60 minutes so that I didn't have to keep restarting each level to get the goals done, and could fly through them at the same time, practice and improve my skills, ready for when I take on the expert challenges at the end. But this grind was absolutely horrible. Started out really strong, positive, happy to take on the challenge. I even thought that this was going to be easier and better than the level 100 grind in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. But I was so wrong. The grind, while at the start, wasn't too bad, and I felt like I could make some good progress as I already knew most of the objectives on the map and what needed to be done to get them ticked off. But I would very quickly realise that would not be the case, and slowly, day by day, the grind would break me down and drain my energy while playing the game. This is because I was playing without any additional mods. It was a decision I made because I wanted to improve my skill in the game, but also thought that if I had the mods on, I would get bored of it being a simple grind and not need too much attention, meaning it would take longer. But that was not the case, and I was slowly losing interest in the grind, which was also not helped with it being warm from a heat wave here in the UK, and you know what we like to complain about our heat, which also, along with everything else running in my small room, was not helping my mindset at all. I was just getting fed up and wishing for it to be over. I did earn a trophy for destroying 500 breakable objects in the start of the solo tour though, and after completing the tour for a few of the 29 skaters, I needed to take a small break. So I went into the speedrunner foundry, and because I completed it without bailing, I got a trophy. But it would be the last one I would see for quite a while. So back to the solo tour grind, and I just chucked on some TV or YouTube and chipped away at them. I was only managed to get 2 to 3 done a night, and some nights I'd just give up early and only have 1 done. It was really beating me, so much so I even had my friends asking me why I was doing it and quoting gambling slogans such as "when the fun stops, stop." And finally, at skater 21 out of 29, I snapped and went straight at the menu and put all the mods on just to help me progress quicker and be done with it. And after doing this, all I have to say is, why did I do this to myself? Why did I make the grind so much harder than it needed to be? With the mods on, I was able to get 4 skaters done in 1 evening, as I was now not losing scores for combos or failing goals for failing to balance the grind. With this, it took 2 days for me to finish the solo tour for the last 8 remaining skaters, and I finally earned a trophy for completing all solo tours in the game. So at this point here, I want to make sure to say that anyone who decides to take on this platinum for this trophy, just put the mods on from the start. Don't do what I did. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, especially if you're already beaten the game once without them on. But also, don't try and get them in one go. Spread them out over time and chip away at it. It'll make the grind a bit more enjoyable and less mentally draining for you. Unless you like to torture yourself, I won't judge. With the harder grind over, there was now light at the end of the tunnel, as all that was left to get the platinum was to complete all the challenges. So I started by looking at what I have left to complete, and the first one I decided to take off and finish with the skater challenges, as I only needed to create a custom character and change his appearance, then a couple of tasks linked to the creating and saving my own park, and finally to get a 250,000 point combo with the skaters Bam and Andy, which also includes their special move in the combo. And the reason I only needed these 2 and no others is because when completing the solo tours for all the other skaters, I was making sure to tick these off, as it allowed me to put more special moves on for them, meaning I could get them set up for the full tour with all the moves needed for the goals after the first level. And once Bam and Andy's combos were done, I got the trophy for completing the skater challenges. Next on the list for me now was the speedrun challenges. There are challenges in each of the game specific challenge lists for speedruns of the level, but they will be earned when I get the hard times beaten in the expert 1 list. And I did think before going into these that I may have a bit of difficulty with some of them, and was ready to make notes to highlight them in the video for you for which ones I did struggle on. But I guess the solo tour grind did have a benefit, and I was able to beat the speedrun challenges really easily. I only needed at max 3 attempts for a level just to make sure I knew the correct path. Once that was done, it was pretty straightforward and I ticked them all off in no time, leaving me with a couple of challenges to clean up in Expert 1 before I then went on to the Expert 2 list. Expert 2 challenges is where the hard gap combo scores were, but these were easier than the hard getters in 1 and 2, because all that was required for these was to get one specific gap in a combo that hits the point the challenge asks for, and most of them were done with ease. But for the expert challenges, there can be no mods on or they won't register if done. And this became annoying for one gap combo, and that was the more barge fun gap in Shipyard. For this, you need to transfer from one barge to the other and then earn 1,800,000 points for the combo. And this was so frustrating. Just hitting the gap was annoying, as you needed the special meter to be full to have the speed to make it across. And if you don't have it, you can't reach it. But if you fail by falling in the water, you lose it and have to build it back up. And then even when I did land the gap sometimes, I'd either fail to turn it into a combo or get a combo high enough or land one for a decent amount of time. But I stick with it and eventually managed to get the gap and land the combo, cleaning the rest of them up with ease until all I had left were the challenges for the pinball level. The speedrun was easy enough, and so was the challenge to land a grab trick on the acid slime drop gap. The only horrible challenge was to connect the kill the brain and kill the ghoul gaps in a single combo, as there was times I couldn't reach the second one, or I'd struggle to get one or both gaps to register as being done. And it was starting to cause a little bit of frustration for me, as the videos online show it being so easy to get done, as they always do. But most of the time, what I found better was to only use the videos to show me where the gaps were and to make my own sort of way there, as I would feel more comfortable moving the skater as I normally would for a combo. And finally, after a bit of persistence and patience, I got the gap and landed the combo, and then got the rest of the gaps within that level ticked off, which for that I just needed to register the gap and land them and once all of them were done, I got the Expert Challenger trophy, leaving me with only 2 trophies to get the platinum. All that was left now was the challenges for each game, and it wasn't too many left to complete, mainly a few gap combos and just hitting a trick of every gap at least once. And I went into this with a bit of confidence, as the one I'd seen a lot of people struggling with in Tokyo, I'd hit the gap combo while playing through the solo tour. So I thought the rest wouldn't be too bad. And for the most part, I was right. They were easy enough to accomplish. But the gaps I needed in Tokyo was still absolutely horrible. To hit even once was bad enough. But I do persevere and get the last of the gaps in Tokyo done, finishing up the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 challenges, earning the trophy for it, and leaving me with just the challenges for Pro Skater 4. Again, didn't find them too bad. I was using a guide to find the gaps I was missing, and luckily didn't struggle too much with most, except for one gap again, which was on Alcatraz. This one, I needed to make a jump from the top of the prison all the way to the bottom, down by the sewage pipe, and I just couldn't make the distance to clear the wall at the bottom, as it required me to use a delayed boneless, and I struggled with the timing of it. So I decided, after seeing what a few other people post online, to put the mod for half speed on, which made the timing a lot easier to see and make, and in a few attempts I got it. I landed the gap, and it was plain sailing after that for the challenges, cleaning up the last of the gaps in Zoo for the final challenge, earning the trophy for all Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 challenges completed, and with it, the Platinum trophy. All in all, the game was actually really fun, and I did enjoy my time with it for the most part. But the one tip I want to say to anyone still watching that want to take on this, don't go through all the solo tour in one go like I did. Drop in and out. It'll be a much better way of playing it, and then you might not find it as frustrating as I did. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated, as it does help the channel grow. But as always, I'll catch you next time.